Uh, so, welcome. Good morning. I think you all know me, right? Do you?
Linda.
Linda? Okay, yeah. Okay, Linda, yeah, Linda. But the rest of you,
Linda.
yeah, Linda. The rest of you know me. So, for background, my name is Jo. I've been coming here to this studio since 2003, so 20 years now. I've also been teaching, actually 21. 2002 I started coming here. I started been teaching since 2003. So now teaching 20 years, I've been coming here 21 years, and we're going to do a fun class today. And again, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to do variations and repetitions of ideas and things. So if you always want to stay with something earlier, feel free to stay with something earlier. As you are ready, no hurries. You can ease your way into a comfortable sitting position. Perhaps swing a little side to side. Maybe circling around a bit through the hips. Leaving out anything that does not work for you. Changing the direction of circles. And then as you feel ready, you can come back to swing a little side to side. And you can gently let yourself unwind into a place that feels balanced between the right and the left side. Once you're here, you can exhale and tilt your hips under a little bit. Inhale and tilt the hips back, just coming into pelvic tilts, noticing what it feels like for the hips to be tucked under versus the hips tilted back. And eventually settling into a place where the hips are not tucked under, nor tilted that far back that you feel balanced between the right and the left side. Hands resting someplace comfortable, eyes soft or closed, and turning inside to the flow of the breath. Feeling the air on your nostrils. And following the breath down through the windpipe and into your lungs. You can feel the lungs expanding out on your inhales and softening back in on your exhales. If you'd like, you can bring one hand to your belly, the other hand to your heart, to your chest area. Under your inhales, you might feel the hands expanding out or moving away from each other. And on the exhales, feeling the hands drawing in towards the spine or moving in towards each other gently. Breathe. And let your awareness rest in the breath. As you continue to settle into the breath, feel the legs and the hips on the floor underneath you. And as you exhale, let your legs and hips settle down into the earth underneath you. Let yourself feel supported. Let yourself feel held. Breathe. As you continue to settle into the breath and feel supported by the earth underneath you, particularly on your exhales. On your inhales, feel expansiveness from inside out. So as the lungs inflate, feel the torso expanding, feel the spine lifting up out of your hips. And on your exhales, as you feel yourself settling into the earth underneath you, keep some of that fullness that you cultivate on your inhales, and also let your skin settle back onto that internal sense of fullness, that internal sense of support. Let your awareness rest in the breath. Throughout class, I invite you to maintain your connection to the breath. If at any point you notice your thoughts or drifting or wandering, at that moment, bring your attention back to the breath. I also invite you to be deeply connected to yourself. So give yourself some time here just to notice how you feel. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Honoring whatever that is, and let that inform your practice. Feel free to adjust the postures, to do different variations, to insert different poses as you feel inclined to. Even if what I say sounds like a command, it's not. Even if I say a lot of words, it's just shorthand. Feel free to adjust the postures, to do different variations, to insert different poses as you feel inclined to. All I ask of you is to try to stay connected to the flow of the breath and to move with this connection. So breathe. We will start class with an Om. If you'd like to join in, I'll exhale, inhale, and then Om. Hands can come together in front of the heart. Exhaling. Inhale deeply. full breath in. And then exhale, release your hands. Softly open your eyes. And as you're ready, transition to all fours on your mat, making your way to your hands and your knees. Knees far enough away from the hands that you can extend fully through the spine. Feel free to pad up your knees. Hands about outer shoulder distance width apart. Feel free to do whatever hand position works for your wrist. So you can do fists or whatever works. But if your fingers are spreading, lines of the wrist relatively parallel with the front edge of the mat, fingers spreading apart or palms are flat, and shifting the weight towards the front of the hands. That means if your palms are flat, spreading the fingers. Then from here, inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, and round the back and look at your navel. Inhale and arch the back, head and tailbone up to the sky. Moving back and forth to the flow of the breath, connecting this movement to the rhythm of the breath, and noticing how you feel as you move, how your back feels, how your shoulders feel, how your neck feels, how your wrists feel, how your knees feel. But also notice what you're doing, rounding and arching the back. Shoulders moving on and off the back, head and hips tilting under and up, inner thigh muscles moving forward and back. With your next inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. With a nice extended spine, exhale, soften the upper back, melting through the chest, the heart a little bit. Feel the low ribs tucking in, core engaging, not so much the hips tucked under. And then from here, go ahead and walk your hands a bit over to the right side. Trying to keep your hips level. Stretching that outer left hip back for the wall behind you. Stretching the left side of your waistline out of the hip. And if you want to, start to slide that left hand forward. The right elbow might bend. Trying to keep your hips level as you stretch the outer left hip back for the wall behind you. Trying to keep your shoulders relatively level as you stretch your left side of the torso out of the left hip, pressing back. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and inhale, walk your way back into center. And second side, walking your hands over to the left side, hips relatively level. Feel the outer right hip stretching back. Feel the right side of the waistline stretching out of the hips. Feel free to stay here, or if you want to, slide that right hand further forward up on fingertips or palms flat. Trying to keep your hips relatively level as the outer right hip stretches back. With the right waistline stretch out, shoulders relatively even, and breathing here. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and come back into center and a child's pose. Feet together, knees a bit apart, hips towards your heels, head towards the ground. Only as much as feels good for you in either direction. You might keep your spine in more of an extension, or you might tuck your hips under just a smidge, letting the back round a bit. Breathe. With your next inhale, ease your way forward onto your belly. Making a pillow for the head with your hands. And gently rock your hips a bit from side to side here. Eventually coming into center with your hips, press down through the hips, bounce between the right and left side. Spin your kneecaps to face the ground if they're not already, and actively extending or stretching back through the legs. Press your forehead onto the back of your hands. Keep your head and the hands on the ground. Inhale and lift your elbows up. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breath. Makrasana variation, crocodile pose variation. With your next exhale, lower the elbows back down. Keep pressing down through the hips, active through the legs, stretching back through the feet. Lift your gaze a little bit. Head and chest staying relatively low. Open your hands wider. So hands coming into a goalpost or a cactus position here. And again, head and chest staying relatively low. If it works for you, inhale and lift your arms up. Noticing how the shoulders move towards each other on the back. Exhale and lower back down, staying active through the hips and the legs. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, lower them back down. Inhale, lift the arms up. Keep the shoulders on the back. Keep your elbows lifted. Lower the hands down. Feel free to have the palms on the ground, hands wide apart, or to come up to fingertips. Regardless, pressing down to the finger pads underneath your fingernails, hugging the finger pads in towards each other, engaging the muscles of the hand. And then if you want to, inhale, lifting up a little bit more through the shoulders and the chest here. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lifting up. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lifting up, holding the lift if that works for you. And maybe moving the torso a bit from side to side here. Breathe. As you feel ready, coming back into center, exhale, lower all the way down. Rest your head on the hands. Relax the legs and the hips, gently rock the hips a bit from side to side. Come back into center with your hips. Press down to the hips, stretch long through the legs, knees facing the ground, feet on the ground. Prop yourself up on your elbows underneath the shoulders if that works for you. If not, elbows can be someplace else so you can stay low. Feel the shoulders on the back, feel the chest lengthening forward, Sphinx pose, breathing here. And then from here, if it works for you, cross the left arm over in front of you. Come all the way over onto your left side. If this position does not work for your neck or shoulders, feel free to change arm positions. Bending the right knee, maybe grabbing the right foot, maybe not. Regardless of whether you're holding onto the foot, you can stretch the right knee back for the wall behind you. Breathe. If it works for you to pull the right foot in close to your hip, you can do that, but again, you don't have to. You also might, with every exhale, relax the right knee towards the left knee if you feel a large separation between your knees. And then as you're ready, if you are holding on to that right foot, release it. Coming back into center, press down through the hips, press down through the forearms, shoulders on the back, chest lengthening forward, breath flowing through you. And then as you feel ready, crossing the right arm over in front, coming onto your side, bending your left knee, maybe grabbing that foot, maybe stretching that knee back for the wall behind you. Nice, full, deep breaths. Perhaps pulling the left foot in close to the hip, perhaps relaxing the left knee a little bit closer to the right on the exhales. Breathe. As you feel ready, go ahead and release the left leg. Coming back into center. Maybe sliding yourself back if you need to, just to make sure your hands, your palms are on the mat here. Press down through the forearms, chest forward through the shoulders, shoulders on the back. Feel really free to stay here. Or keep pulling the chest forward out of the hips. Press down through your hands. And with your next inhale, maybe floating those elbows up off the ground. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, maybe floating the elbows up. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, maybe floating the elbows up, holding here. Act like you're pulling the hands back. Feel the spine stretching forward out of the hips, chest moving forward between the shoulders. And depending on how your head and neck feels, maybe press the back of your head back and lift your chin just a smidge. Not trying to go back that far. Breathe. And then exhale, lower all the way back down. Rest your head on the hands. Really rock your hips a little side to side. Come back into center with your hips and make your way back into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. With your next inhale, come up to all fours. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long with a nice long spine. Slide the right foot back behind you. Right foot on the ground, right foot flexed, right toes curled under. Nice long spine. Feel the shoulders gently moving towards each other on the back. Feel the core engaging. And then start to press the right heel back past your toes. Pressing away with your hands on the floor, moving your torso back. Getting a nice stretch to that right calf muscle, right Achilles tendon. Breathe. With your next inhale, move the shoulders back forward over the wrist. And maybe sliding the left hand forward out in front of you, coming up to the left fingertips. Feel free to stay here. Feel free to just move your right leg or moving a right leg and left arm. With your next inhale, lift your right leg and maybe left arm up too. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, right leg, left arm lifts. Exhale and lower back down. We'll hold the next one. Inhale, right leg, left arm lifts, holding here from the core stretch back to the right foot, forward to the left hand. Breathe, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then with your next exhale, lower the right knee and the left hand down. Shift your weight a little bit more into your left hand. Come up to your right fingertips here, hugging the right fingers in towards each other here. Feel free to stay here with the weight more on the left hand or slowly try to shift the weight back into the right hand up on your fingertips. Breathe. Notice how much you're working that hand. And then as you feel ready, lower the right hand back down, right palm back down. Inhale, stretch your spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back and look at your navel. As you inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Slide the left leg back behind you, left foot on the ground, left toes curled under, foot flex. From here, with that nice long spine, press the left heel back past your toes, pressing away with their hands at the floor, moving the torso back, and a nice stretch to the back of the left leg. Breathe, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, shoulders back, forward, over the wrist. With your next inhale, the right hand can slide forward. And then feel free to stay here. Feel free to just move leg. Or with your next inhale, left leg and right arm lift up. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lift it. Exhale and lower. Inhale and lift, holding the lift here from the core, stretching back to the left leg, forward to the right hand. Breathe nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, exhale, left knee and right hand down. Shift your weight into your right hand. Come up to your left fingertips, hugging the left finger pads in towards each other and shifting the weight back into that hand if it works for you. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. As you're ready, lower the left hand, left palm back down. With your palms on the ground, grab at the floor with your finger pads, hugging them in towards each other, right underneath your fingernails. And then just act like you're going to lift your wrists up here. And notice how your hands, your palms engage. And then exhale back into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. With your next inhale, ease your way forward onto your belly. Making a pillow for the head with your hands and gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. Coming back into center with your hips. Press down to the hips, stretch long through the legs, knees facing the ground. Lift your gaze up a little bit here. Bring the hands to either side of the chest, underneath your biceps or your elbows. Float your hands up off the ground here and feel the shoulders moving towards each other on the back. Keep working those legs and hips. Inhale, lift up through the shoulders and the chest here. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lifting up. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lift up. Hold the lift through the shoulders to the chest. Lower the fingertips back down. Hug the fingers in towards each other here. Feel free to stay here with the shoulders on the back, or if you want to, feel the chest lengthening forward out the hips. Start to press down through the fingers and slowly, so take multiple breaths, maybe start to lift up a little bit more. Keep the spine lengthening out of the hips. Try to keep the shoulders sliding down away from the ears. Only coming up as high as feels good for you. Maybe press the back of the head back. Maybe lift your chin a little bit. And with just as much as control and just as slowly, so maybe taking multiple breaths, easing your way all the way back down. Rest your head on the hands. Relax to the legs. Gently rock your hips a little side to side. Come back into center with your hips. Press down to the hips. Stretch long to the legs. Stretch the arms forward out in front of you here. If arms straight forward doesn't feel great for your shoulders, you can always come into a Y shape or a cactus again. And from here, you can either keep your palms facing down or you can turn the palms in towards each other. Pressing down through the hands a little bit, maybe lifting up a little bit through the chest, but not too terribly much. Retracting the arm bones into the shoulder sockets. Then keeping your hips nice and heavy on the ground, and you might keep your hands and the legs low, but with your next inhale, lift your right leg and the left arm up. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, left leg and right arm lifts. Exhale and lower. Inhale, right leg and left arm, both hips stay rooted. Exhale and lower. Inhale, left leg and right arm. Exhale and lower. We'll hold the next one. Right leg, left arm lifts. Press down through that right hip as much as the left. But if you want, you can play with lifting the right leg and the left arm up, however high feels good for you, with that right hip staying grounded. Breathe. Exhale, go ahead and lower right leg and left arm down, and second side, left arm, left leg, right arm lifts. And again, feel free to stay low or rooting down strongly to that left hip. If you want to play with lifting up higher, you can. Breathing wherever you're at. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then exhale all the way back down. Rest your head on the hands. Relax to the legs. Rock your hips a bit from side to side. Coming back into center from here and making your way back into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. If you want to, in this child's pose, stretch the arms forward out in front of you. Maybe lifting up to your fingertips here, maybe hugging the finger pads in here, and maybe feel the arms lifting up, particularly the upper arms and the inner edge of your upper arms right next to your armpit as much as the outer. And then soften the upper back right between the shoulder blades. Maybe relax the head and neck down, breathing here. And again, this is only if you want to do a more active child's pose. If you want to just completely rest, that's fine. Do what works for you. With your next inhale, come up to all fours, hands and knees. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Grab at the floor with your finger pads. Feel a lightness to the wrist, like you're going to lift the palms up. And soften the upper back right between the shoulders. And then with that nice long spine, curl the toes under, lift your knees up. Press the hips up, back away from you, downward facing dog. You can bend one knee, straightening out to the opposite leg, bending the other knee, moving from side to side. Let your hips move, or really anything that you usually do in your first downward facing dog of the day. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Maybe coming back into center for a moment and just really lengthening out the low back, pressing those hips up, back away from the hands here. And then as you're ready, look forward at the hands. Bend your knees. Walk your feet towards the hands or hands towards the feet. Once all the weight's in your feet, you can bring your hands to the hips and with a nice long spine, come all the way up to standing. Once you're up to standing, go ahead and make your way to near the front of the mat. Actually, take a moment. Just have the blocks someplace where you can grab them near the front of the mat. We're not going to use them really at this point unless you like to use them, but I like to have them there so they're available. Anyway. So just giving yourself a moment once you're all set up, lining your feet up with each other, feet a comfortable distance width apart, knees and second toes facing generally forward, and most importantly, knees tracking towards second toes, shifting the weight a little forward and back in your feet. Eventually coming to a place where the weight feels pretty balanced between the front and the back of your feet. Wiggle your toes. Inhale and lift your toes up. Notice how the muscles of your feet wake up with your toes. Exhale, go ahead and release. Inhale, lift your toes up again. Keep your toes lifting, balancing out the weight throughout your feet. If it helps for you to think about pressing it this way, think about pressing down evenly, right behind the big toe, inner edge of the heel, right behind the baby toe, outer edge of the heel. Then pull the front of your foot behind the big toe and the baby toe towards the back of your foot, inner and outer edge of the heel, to try to get your arch muscles to engage without your toes curling under. That's really why we have the toes lifted here. Anyway, spread the toes apart from each other here if that will work for you. If not, no worries if they don't move. And then lower the toes back down to the ground, pressing all 10 toes into the earth, feeling the weight even in your feet, but trying to find those arch muscles and lifting up through the arch muscles without curling your toes under. Feel the leg muscles hugging to the bone, but the knee joint soft. Feel the muscles around the hips hugging in, including pelvic floor muscles lifting in and up. Top of the hips and back lifting in and up a little bit. Natural arch of the spine, not too big of one. Low ribs in front, also lifting in and up. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Head and neck stacked above the rest of the spine. Feel the breath moving through you here, and with your exhales anchoring from the hips down to the feet into the earth. Breathe. And then with your next exhale, release the arms to the side, moving through the shoulders. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale, lower the arms back to the side. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Right hand can grab left wrist. Exhale, leaning over to the right side. Inhale, up to center, left hand, right wrist. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center, right hand, left wrist. Exhale to the right. Inhale up to center, left hand, right wrist. Exhale to the left. Inhale up to center, right hand, left wrist. Exhale to the right. Inhale up to center, last round, left hand, right wrist. Exhale to the left. Inhale up to center. Exhale, release the arms to the side. Knees as wide apart as your feet. With your next inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Act like you're sitting back in a chair. Exhale, back up to standing. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Exhale, back up to standing. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Exhale, pour the spine forward over the legs. Hands to the legs or to the floor or to blocks here. Breathe. Notice that the rib cage, the low ribs in particular, and the tops of the hips are close to your thighs. Keep your low ribs and the top of the hips relatively close to the thighs. As you inhale and lift your hips up, straighten the legs only as much as feels good for you. Exhale and bend your knees. Knees as wide apart as your feet. Inhale, lifting your hips up, straightening the legs. Exhale and bending your knees. Inhale and straightening those legs however much works for you. Holding those legs straight from your hips down to the feet into the earth. Feel the weight even in your feet and see if you can feel the arches lifting up. With your next inhale, stretch the chest forward, maybe sliding the hands up the legs. Exhale and folding down, folding in. Inhale and lengthen through the spine, lengthening that chest forward out of the hips, maybe sliding hands up. Exhale and fold in. Inhale, stretching the chest forward. You can also keep the hands where they are if you prefer. Exhale and fold. Feel the leg muscles hugging to the bone. Nice, strong, steady legs. When you feel ready, hands to the hips, shoulders on the back. Nice, long spine all the way up to standing. Soften your knees. Shift your weight into your right foot. Step the left foot back a comfortable amount. Back heel can be up or down. Hips facing generally forward. So pulling the left hip forward, right hip back. If that's challenging to do, you might want to move the left foot a bit further to the left to turn the hips forward. Right knee tracking towards second toe or thereabouts. Exhale and bending that right knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend, right knee approximately on top of the ankle. Press down to the hips, feel the feet nice and strong on the earth. If you want to, you can stretch the arms alongside by the ears. Virabhadrasana, one variation, warrior one, breathing here. Nice full deep breath, pressing evenly down to the feet while you're in the pose. But when you feel ready to come out of the pose, shift the weight into your right foot, step the left foot forward. Hands to your hips, shift your weight over into your left foot. Right foot goes back. Hips facing generally forward. Left hip pulls back, right hip forward. Left knee tracking towards second toe or thereabouts. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Left knee approximately on top of the ankle. Press down to the hips. Hips even. If you want to, arms by the ears. Breathing here. Nice, full, deep breath. Pressing down through your feet. Again, maybe pressing down evenly through your feet and feeling the arches lifting up a little bit, particularly that right arch. And then as you're ready, shifting your weight into your left foot, step the right foot forward. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, feel the earth underneath your feet. With your next exhale, release your hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale, legs straight or bent, fold forward, hands to legs, blocks or floor. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Press down to the feet, nice long spine. Arms come wide, reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Feel the breath moving through you. Feel the earth underneath your feet. With your next inhale, open the legs wide to the side here. Okay, line your feet up with each other here, hands to the hips. And then as you're ready, let your knees be soft and heel-toe the feet as wide apart as works for you, that you can hold your legs in this position. You're not going to change position of the legs. So literally just as wide apart as you can hold the legs in this position. And then line your feet up here. Press down to your feet muscularly with your leg muscles hugging into your hips. And from your hips, anchoring back to the feet into the earth. From here, the hands can come into a T. Find the bottom tips of the shoulder blades on the back, and with your next exhale, hug the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in toward each other on the back, and then inhale and let them move away from each other. Exhale, hug the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in towards each other. Inhale, move them away. Exhale, hug the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in towards each other. Keep some of that engagement, but let it relax a little bit. So you're not squeezing in for dear life, but you're also not completely relaxed. There's some place where you feel like you'll hold your arms in this position for a while, stably, because you're using your shoulders to do that. Breathe. Okay, bring your hands back to your hips, soften your knees, heel-toe, 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 those legs back in. Shake out the legs, and turn back and face the narrow in the mat, lining your feet up with each other here. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Feel the breath moving through you. Feel the earth underneath you. With your next exhale, release the hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Bend your knees deeply, hands to the ground. Make your way back to a downward facing dog. Pressing those hips up, back, away from you. With your knees as wide apart as your feet, maybe bending your knees and maybe pressing your hips up, back past your knees, really lengthening out the low back here. Breathe. With your next exhale, come down to all fours, hands and knees. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back and look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Grabbing at the floor with your finger pads, feel a lightness to the wrist. Exhale, soften the upper back, engage your core. And then as you're ready, sliding that right foot back behind you. Right foot on the ground, right foot flex. Start to shift the weight into your left hand. Start to lift the right hip on top of the left, turning the hips to face the side. And then if you want to, the right hand can lift up to the sky. Side plank pose, breathing here. Yes, and if you want to lift that right leg up, you can. If you want to keep the foot on the ground, you can. Breathe. With your next exhale, coming back to all fours, hands and knees. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back and look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Slide the left leg back behind you. Grabbing at the floor, particularly with the right fingers, feel the lightness of the wrist. Shift your weight into your right hand. Start to stack left hip on top of the right. Turning the hips to face the side. And if you want to, lifting the left hand up. Breathe here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And just feel that right shoulder moving a little bit towards the left on the back. Bottom tips of the shoulders moving in a bit here. And then as you're ready, exhale, coming back to all fours and coming back into a child's pose. Breathe. Take a moment here, just making sure you have a strap someplace where you can easily grab it on your belly. And then as you're ready, coming forward onto your belly. Making a pillow for the head with your hands, gently rock your hips from side to side. Come back into center with your hips here, and go ahead and grab the strap. I often like to double up straps if I think they're long enough when I grab them, just so you know, again, that can be a nice thing just to make them easier to grab. Take the strap back behind you, palms facing towards the ground, so thumbs facing out. Strap across the hips, a little bit lower than top of the hips, maybe even a little bit towards your tailbone, but not all the way at the bottom. And then from here, press down through the hips, stretch long through the legs, knees facing the ground, feet on the ground, grabbing the strap, act like you're gonna pull the hands apart from each other, and feel the shoulders moving a bit towards each other on the back. Then as you're ready, lift up through the shoulders to the chest here. With your elbows still bent, strap on your hips. You can kind of press the strap back a little bit, using the strap to root or anchor your hips here. Breathe. Feel free to stay here, or if you want to, keep your hips anchoring, start to straighten the arms. You might have to let the hands go wider apart as you straighten. Still pulling apart with your hands the strap. And then as you feel ready, also notice the back of the head right behind your mouth. Start to press that up and maybe lift your chin a little bit here. Breathe. Shalabhasana variation. And then exhale, go ahead and release. Put the strap over to the side. Rest your head on the hands. And gently rock your hips a bit from side to side here. Coming back into center with your hips and making your way back into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. With your next inhale, come up to sitting. Legs straight forward out in front of you, knees and toes pointing up to the sky. Hopefully the strap is someplace you can still grab it easily on your back next time. If not, go ahead and finagle that. Okay. Hands back behind you, press down through your legs, untuck your hips, lift up to the low back, open to the chest, open to the throat. Dandasana variation, breathing here. And then keep the low back lifting in and up, maybe walking your hands forward, up on fingertips or palms flat, stacking your torso up over your hips. If you feel your hips tucking under, you can bend your knees a little bit, untuck your hips, sit up nice and tall. Breathe. And then as you're ready, go ahead and move your knees, your hips further forward on the mat. Your feet can come down, plenty of mat back behind you, holding on underneath your thighs here as you feel ready. With your next inhale, sit up nice and tall and lengthen through the spine. Exhale and round the back and look at your navel. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and round. Inhale and lengthen. And then exhale vertebrae by vertebrae all the way down to your back. Or come to your back, however works for you. Once you're on your back, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. And then as you feel ready, letting go of the knees or holding on to them, you can draw circles on the ceiling with the knees in one direction, letting the hips move around a bit on the floor. And then you can draw circles on the ceiling with the knees in the other direction. Breathe. Coming back into center from here with your knees bent, lower the feet to the ground. Feet a comfortable distance width apart, feet a comfortable distance away from the hips. Coming into natural curves of the spine. Weight lower in your hips, balance between the right and the left side. Tops of your hips lifting up a little bit. You might be able to slide a hand underneath the top of the hips and back. Shoulders nice and heavy, balance between the right and the left side. Neck lifting up a little bit. You might be able to slide a hand or two underneath your neck. Back of your head with your chin in neutral or nice, or Slightly lift it nice and heavy on the ground. From here, if it works for you, cross your left ankle over the right knee. You can bring the hands to the thighs and press the thighs away from you, breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. Feel free to stay here or keep that action of the legs pressing away. Take your hands off the legs, maybe lifting the right foot up. Feel free to stay here or maybe grabbing the right leg with your hands. Left hand reaching in between the hole in the leg, right hand holding on to the outer right leg. Breathe. Also, if you choose to lift the right foot up, as you move that leg in towards you, your hips might tuck under a little bit. That's okay as long as they're staying on the ground. If your hips start to lift up off the ground, you may have gone too far. Breathe. As you feel ready, go ahead and release the side, lowering that foot back to the ground. Uncross the left leg, crossing the right leg over. And again, maybe hands to the tops of the thighs, pressing the thighs away from you a bit here. Keep that action of the thighs pressing away. You can release the hands from the leg if you like. If you want to, you can lift the left leg up. If you would like to, you could grab the left leg with your hands, right hand coming in between the hole in the leg. Breathing here. Nice, full, deep, complete breath. As you feel ready, go ahead and release the left leg. Lower the soles of the feet to the ground and crossing the right leg, hands to the thighs, press the thighs away from you. Gently sway the knees a little side to side. Breathe. Coming back into center with your hips here. Go ahead and grab the strap and loop the strap around the ball of your left foot. So the ball between your arch and your toes, and then straightening the left leg towards the sky. You can either use the loop or just toss the strap around, whatever feels better for you. And then from here, go ahead, take a moment, press the left leg a little bit away from you, lowering the left foot a bit closer to the ground, and make sure the weight is lower in your hips, that your hips aren't tucking under. Again, bounce between the right and the left side, lower in the hips, natural curves of the spine, and then keep the weight lower in the hips, and perhaps with the left leg straight, pull the left leg in towards you more. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Coming into a nice hamstring stretch. Make sure you've given yourself enough strap that you can anchor down through the shoulders and the back of the head. Then from here, taking all of the strap into the left hand, you can loop the strap around the left hand. Perhaps your left arm is straight, but still giving yourself enough strap that you can anchor or press that left shoulder into the ground here. Open the right arm to the right or just bring the right arm someplace comfortable. Right knee is still bent, interestingly enough here, so we're keeping the right knee bent. With your next inhale, we're going to open the left leg to the left and the right knee to the right. Exhale, go ahead and bring the right knee and the left leg back into center. Inhale, let the left leg open to the left and the right knee go to the right. Exhale, come back into center. Inhale, left leg to the left, right knee to the right. Holding here, breathe. Feel the weight balance between the right and the left side of your hips and back. Breathing here on your back, breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then go ahead and come back into center. And you can release the left leg and lower the left foot to the ground. Looping the strap around the ball of your right foot. Straightening the right leg. And again, making sure you can bring the weight lower into your hips. So you might have to press that right leg away from you for a bit to do that. And then keep the weight lower in the hips and bounce between the sides. And you can pull the right leg in towards you, coming a bit more into a nice hamstring stretch here. Breathing nice, full, deep breaths. And again, grabbing both ends of the strap or all the straps with the right hand, maybe looping the strap around the right hand, but making sure you can anchor or press this right shoulder into the ground. Left arm wherever is comfortable. Left knee perhaps still bent. And then as you're ready, inhale the right leg to the right, left knee to the left. Exhale, coming back up to center with both legs. Inhale, right leg to the right, left knee to the left. Exhale, back into center. Inhale, right leg to the right, left knee to the left. Balancing out the weight between the right and the left side of the hips. You might rock a little bit to do that to make sure the weight's balanced. Breathing here, wherever here is for you. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, coming back into center with your legs, bend the right knee, take the strap off the right leg. Take the strap in between your hands. about shoulder distance width apart. Palms facing away from you. And again, just pulling the strap taut, so pulling your hands away from each other. And then from here, stretch your knuckles up for the sky. Palms facing towards the front of the room. And press the shoulders into the ground here with your next exhale. With your next inhale, lift the shoulders away from the ground. Exhale, pressing the shoulders into the ground, shoulder blades on the back. Inhale, lift the shoulders away from the ground, shoulder blades off the back, still pulling the hands away from each other. Exhale, pressing the shoulders into the ground, shoulder blades on the back. With your next inhale, keep those shoulder blades on the back, stretch the arms back for the wall behind you. Keep your core engaged, so if your low ribs start to lift up a lot, pull them down a little bit. Exhale, arms back up toward the ceiling or knuckles back up to the ceiling. Inhale, stretch the arms up overhead, back for the wall behind you. Exhale, knuckles back towards the ceiling. Inhale, stretch the arms up overhead, back for the wall behind you. Hold it here. Natural curves of the spine. Weight lower in the hips, shoulders pressing down, back of the head pressing down. Breathe, nice full deep breaths. And then go ahead and stretch the knuckles back up to the ceiling. Bend your elbows, put the strap over to the side. Hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. Your hips might tuck under here, that's fine. And then as you're ready, roll all the way over onto your side and transition to all fours on your mat, making your way back to your hands and your knees. Grabbing at the floor with your fingers. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. As you inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Stretch the right leg back behind you. Exhale, right knee to the nose, rounding the back, hugging in. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Stretch the right leg back behind you. Exhale, stepping the right foot to the right. So the right foot might come a little bit in front of the left knee. Right toes turning to the right side here. And with your right toes just a little bit in front of the left knee. Right toes turning more to the right side. Press your right thigh back. Feel the spine lengthening forward out of the hips here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breath. Grab at the floor with your finger pads, feel light through the wrists. And then as you're ready, go ahead and step that right knee back in. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Stretch the left leg back behind you. Exhale, left knee to the nose, rounding the back, hugging in. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Stretch the left leg back behind you. Exhale, left foot, step it to the left. So just a little bit in front of the right knee if that works for you. Pressing the left thigh back, left knee turning more towards the side. Stretch your armpits and your chest forward out of the hips. Here, breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and step that left foot back in. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back, look at the navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Sliding the right foot back behind you. Right foot on the ground, right foot flexed. Shift your weight into your left hand this time and slide the right hand, same arm, same leg, forward out in front of you. And just like before, you can hang out here, you could just do legs, or keeping your torso generally facing the ground with your next inhale. Lift your right leg and the right arm up. Exhale and lower back down. Keep grabbing at the floor with your left hand, feeling a lightness to that wrist. Inhale, right leg and right arm lift up. Exhale, lower back down. For most people, this is harder. For some people, this is actually easier. Inhale, right leg, right arm lifts. Maybe holding here from the core, stretch back to that right leg, forward to the right hand. Breathe. And then exhale, go ahead and come back to center. Inhale, lengthen the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long, melting to that chest a little bit. Slide the left leg back behind you, left toes curled under. Grabbing at the floor with your right fingers, feeling a lightness to the right wrist. Shift the weight into the right hand. Slide the left hand a little bit forward. Feel free to stay here. Feel free to just move leg, or with your next inhale, left leg and left arm lifts, trying to keep your chest, your torso facing the ground generally. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, left leg, left arm lifts. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, left leg, left arm lifts. Maybe holding here, stretching the spine nice and long. So feel that right armpit moving forward as you stretch the left leg back and left arm forward. And then exhale, go ahead and lower back down and come back into a child's pose. Breathe. A nice, full, deep, complete breaths. With your next inhale, ease your way forward onto your belly, making a pillow for the head with your hands. Gently rock your hips a little side to side. Coming back into center with your hips, press down to the hips, stretch long through the legs. Prop yourself up on your elbows underneath the shoulders. Feel the shoulders on the back, feel the chest lengthening forward, maybe hugging the legs in towards each other, pressing down strongly through both hips. With your next exhale, bending your right knee here. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bending the right knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bending the right knee. Hold the right knee bent. Press down strongly through the hips. If you want to, with your left leg straight, you can float that left leg foot up off the ground a little bit. Breathe. And then keep anchoring down through both hips, straightening both legs, bringing the feet back to the ground, legs hugging in towards each other, and perhaps the second side. Exhale and bending the left knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend the left knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend the left knee, holding that left knee bent. Press down through the hips. If you want to float up the right foot here with the right leg straight, you can. Breathe, nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and release. Rest your head on the hands and gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. Coming back into center as you feel ready and making your way back into a child's pose. With your next inhale, come up to all fours, hands and knees. Exhale, round the back and look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, downward facing dog. Press those hips up, back away from you. Grab at the floor with your finger pads. Feel lightness to the wrists. You can have your knees bent or straight. If your hips are tucking under, definitely bend your knees and lengthen the low back. Breathe. And then as you feel ready, look forward at your hands. Bend your knees. Walk your feet towards the hands or the hands towards the feet. Once all the weight's in your feet, you can inhale and lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold in. Press down to the feet. Nice long spine. Arms come wide. Reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Feel the breath moving through you. Feel the earth underneath your feet. As you're ready, go ahead and release the hands to the sides. Grab your blocks. Open your legs wide to the side. Put the blocks down in front of your feet. Or in front of the legs, and maybe a little wider apart. And then from here, open the legs wide enough that the legs are working, but maybe not as wide as before. So you're not doing anything that feels too crazy, but you feel like you're nice and steady and strong. Okay, right toes face towards the long in the mat or turn towards the left a little bit. Left toes turn all the way out to the left side. Heels can line up, or you can line the left heel up to the right arch of the foot. Hips opening back to the right side here, only as much as feels good for you, with the left knee tracking towards the second toe. And then as you're ready, exhale and bending that left knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend the left knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend the left knee on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe. Left hand or left forearm to that left leg. Gently pressing the left knee open. Leaning back to the right hip, right shoulder, and back of the head. If it works for you, lift the right hand up to the sky. Feel free to stay here in this Parsva variation, or look at the ground and grab that block that's near the left hand and put the left hand on the block. Block can be at whatever height works for you. So it can be at highest, middle, low, or you could even bring your hand to the ground here. Then go ahead and look back up at the sky, spinning your chest back to the sky. Feel free to stay here. Or if you'd like, you can stretch the right arm alongside by the ear. Again, Parsva variations, whatever one works for you. Press down evenly through both feet and maybe feel those arches lifting up here. Breathe. As you feel ready, stretch the right arm back to the sky, nice and strong and steady through the legs. Tilt the torso back to vertical. You can look over the left fingers, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2 for just a breath or two. And then hands back to your hips. And as you're ready, you might have to flip them blocks out of the way. Turning the left toes to face along in the mat or towards the right. Right toes can turn all the way out to the right. Right knee tracking towards second toe, hips opening back to the left. As you feel ready, exhale and bending the right knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend the right knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend the right knee. Right hand or right forearm onto the leg, gently pressing the knee open. Lengthen the spine, maybe leaning back to the left hip, left shoulder, back of the head. Maybe the left hand lifts up toward the sky here. Breathe. Maybe look down at the ground. Maybe you bring the right hand to a block. block underneath your shoulder. And again, block could be at highest height, medium, or low height. Turn back to the sky, turn your chest back to the sky wherever you're at. And then if you want to, and again, you don't have to, you can stretch the left arm by the ear. Parzival-Konasana variation, pressing down steadily through both feet. Feel those arches lifting up. Keep the leg muscles nice and steady and strong. Leg muscles hugging to the bone. Stretch your left arm back to the sky, and then tilting the torso back to a more vertical position if that works for you. Looking over the right fingers, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, breathe. And then go ahead, bring your hands back to your hips, soft your knees, turn all 10 toes to face along in the mat. Heel toe your feet in towards each other, shake out the legs, grab the blocks, put the blocks near the front of the mat, someplace you can grab them there if you like them, and line your feet up with each other here. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Feel the breath moving through you. Feel the earth underneath your feet. With your next exhale, release the hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Bend your knees, step back, downward facing dog. Press the hips up, back away from here. Grab at the floor with your hands for lightness of the wrist. Keep that action in your hands. As you inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist, plank pose. You might have to wiggle the feet back a little bit. And then exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Trying to keep your hands and your feet this wide apart. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist, plank pose. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist, plank pose. Holding here. If you need to lower the knees to the ground, you always can. Feel the core engaging, low ribs hugging in. Feel the chest melting a little bit, upper back melting a little bit, shoulders hugging towards each other on the back. Lining the head and neck up with the rest of the spine, pressing the head back a little bit here. Still grabbing at the floor with your fingers and feeling lightness to the wrist. When you feel ready from here, we're going to shift the weight a little bit into the left hand. Lower the left knee down again. Slide that right foot over to the side and lift the right hand up, coming back into the side plank variation. Breathing here, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and come to all fours. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist, plank pose. Shift your weight into the right hand. Lower the right knee down, grabbing at the floor with your fingers, lightness to the wrist. Sliding that left foot into place and maybe lifting the left hand up here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, coming back to all fours and coming back into a child's pose. Breathe. Feel the breath moving through you. And then as you're ready, easing your way forward onto your belly, making a pillow for the head with your hands, gently rocking your hips from side to side. Coming back into center with your hips here and propping yourself up on your elbows underneath the shoulders, legs relatively close together. Press down through the hips, shoulders on the back, chest lengthening forward. From here, as you're ready, keep your hips rooting down, bend your right knee. Maybe cross the left arm over in front of you, not coming all the way over onto your side, keeping the right knee on the ground, lean to that left side some, and then maybe here with your right hand, you might be able to grab the right foot. If you want to do what we did earlier and come all the way over onto your side, that's also an option. You might pull the right foot in towards your hip here, and then you might perhaps bring the right hip back to the ground. That gets more challenging, and pull the chest forward through your hips here. Breathe. Ardha Bakasana, half of a frog, which I always think is kind of humorous for some reason, imagining half of a frog. I don't know why. Anyway. Exhale, go ahead and release. And then from here, press down through the floor and shoulders on the back, chest lengthening forward, hips rooting, bending the left knee. Cross the right arm over. And again, leaning just a bit to that right side. Left knee perhaps staying grounded. Left hand can grab left foot. Maybe pulling the left foot in towards your outer left hip. And then perhaps bringing that left hip down and feeling the chest lengthening forward out of the hips here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breath. And exhale, go ahead and release. And as you're ready, coming back to your belly, just gently rocking the hips from side to side. From here, when you feel ready, come all the way over onto your left side. And your left arm can just be wherever it's comfortable. So you can make a pillow with the arm, you can straighten the arm, you can prop yourself up. Your right hand is acting as a stabilizer in front of you, lining your body up in a nice straight line on your side here. So feet, hips, shoulders, and head all pretty much in line. And then bend your right knee and stack your right hip directly on top of the left. And with your right knee bent, right leg parallel to the ground, right foot on top of the left leg. With your next inhale, spin your right knee towards the sky. Exhale and lower it back down. Inhale, spin the right knee towards the sky. Exhale and lower it back down. Inhale, spin the right knee towards the sky. If it works for you, come up to your right fingertips here. If it works for you, lift the right hand up. You actually have to engage your core some to balance on your slide without the arm. So just being aware of that and playing with that, breathe. Okay, as you're ready, go ahead and release. Come back to your belly. Gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. And then as you're ready, coming all the way over onto your right side. And again, right arm wherever is comfortable, lining yourself up in a nice straight line. Left arm and the hand initially acting as a stabilizer. Bend your left knee, the top leg. Stack your left hip directly on top of the right. And with your left foot on the right leg, inhale, spin the left knee towards the sky, coming into a tree variation on your side. Exhale and lower the left knee down. Inhale, spin the left knee towards the sky. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, spin the left knee to the sky. Hold the left knee in this tree variation on your side. If you want to come to your left fingers, if you want to lift your left hand up, placing the hand wherever is comfortable for you. Breathing here, nice full deep breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and easing your way back into your belly. So just release it, come back to your belly, gently rock your hips from side to side. Coming back into center from here and making your way back into a child's pose. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Inhale up to all fours. Exhale, round the back, look at your neighbor. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist, plank pose. Wiggle the feet back a little bit. Exhale, up and back, downward facing dog. Grab at the floor with your fingers, feel lightness to the wrist. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist, plank pose. Soften the upper back a little bit, core engaged. Shift your weight into your left hand. You can do what we did earlier, or turning all 10 toes to the right, and maybe lift the right hand up here. Feel free to stay here, or that right foot, maybe step it forward with your right toes turning to the right, like we did in all fours a bit earlier. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breath. Vashisthasana variation. Okay, which we've already been doing. Go ahead and come back to plank, so unwinding yourself, coming back to plank. And then as you feel ready, grabbing to the floor with the right fingers, feel lightness to the wrist, shift your weight into your right hand. Turn all 10 toes to the left. Left hand can lift up here, and then maybe stepping that left foot forward. Breathing here, nice full deep breath. And maybe even here, play with pressing down to the right hand and the outer edge of the right foot, and maybe play with lifting your hips up just a smidge higher. Breathe. And then as you're ready, go ahead and come back to plank pose. Nice full deep breath. Lower the knees down and come back into a child's pose. Breathe. Feel the breath moving through you. As you feel ready, coming forward onto your belly, propping yourself up on your elbows, elbows underneath the shoulders, shoulders on the back, chest lengthening forward, knees outer hip distance width apart, press down through the hips, exhale and bending both knees. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend, holding here for the shoulders on the back, for the chest lengthening forward, for the breath flowing through you here. And then as you're ready, exhale, lower all the way down. Rest your head on the hands, gently rock your hips from side to side. Okay, coming back into center with your hips here. Pressing down to the hips, stretching long through the legs, knees facing the ground, hands wide to the side like we did earlier in class. Maybe coming up to fingertips, maybe palms flat, squeezing the finger pads in, feeling light through the wrist. Feel the shoulders on the back, and you can lift up a little bit through the chest here. Your shoulders are going to be the limiting factor. Just a heads up before we go into what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to start to rock a bit from side to side. And then as you're ready, you're gonna lean more to the left side. Lift the right leg up, bend the right knee, and act like you're gonna step the right foot to the floor back behind you, only going as far as works for you. Inhale, back through center. And then exhale, lean to the right side, lift your left leg up, and act like you're gonna step the left foot back. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the left side, right leg lifts, act like you're stepping back. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right, left leg lifts, act like you're stepping back. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left, right leg lifts, act like you're stepping back. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right, left leg lifts, act like you're stepping back. Inhale to center. Exhale, lower all the way down, rest your head on the hands, gently rock your hips. Coming back into center and making your way back into a child's pose. Breathe. Okay, now have a block and a strap where you can grab on your belly. This class does go to 11:30, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Because I have plans.
Oh, I know you do.
Okay, come up to sitting. Legs forward out in front of you. Dandasana. Sitting up nice and tall. Hands can be by the hips. And again, block and a strap. Someplace where you can grab it on your belly. Okay. From here, if you want to, you can bend your knees, move your hips further forward, grab on underneath your thighs. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, sit up nice and tall and lengthen. Exhale, round the back. Try to go maybe a little bit further this time. Someplace where you might hold for a bit. Really feel those core engaging. Inhale, sit up nice and tall and lengthen. And this time, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down onto your back. Once you're on the back, you can hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. And then releasing the legs, you can draw circles on the ceiling with the knees in both directions. Okay. Knees bent, lower the feet to the ground, coming back to natural curves of the spine. Weight lower in the hips is usually the key thing there, and pressing down to the shoulders and the back of the head. Then grabbing the strap, looping the strap around the left foot, left leg towards the sky. Feel free to keep the right knee bent like we did earlier, or again, pressing the left leg away from you so you can keep the weight lower on the hips, straighten the right leg along the ground, right knee and toe pointing to the sky. And I forgot to say this, but take a moment, you might have to come out of this for a bit. Grab your block, and what you're gonna do with the block is you're gonna put the block at the lowest height by your outer right hip. Okay. And it's just really there to give you a bit more feedback. Okay, once you're ready and in this position, again, your right leg might be straight or it can be bent, right knee pointing towards the sky, weight lower in the hips. You can pull the left leg in towards you more here. If your right leg is straight, you're anchoring down or pressing down to that entire leg. Take both ends of the strap into your left hand, looping the strap around the left hand in the place that the arm is relatively straight, but the shoulder is pressing down. And then with your right hand, take your right hand just to the outside of the block or even the right arm and just squeeze the block into your hip here. Again, that's for feedback, pressing down through the shoulders. So we're going to try not to move the hips a lot. And again, the block is giving you some additional feedback. With your next inhale, let the left leg go to the left without moving your hips that much. Exhale, bring it back up to center. And this time we're just gonna go and hold. Inhale, left leg to the left. And again, it might take multiple breaths because you're trying to be super conscious and aware of your hips. So it might take you a while to get to where you want to go. Breathe nice, full, deep breaths wherever you end up. And then as you're ready, go ahead and bring that left leg back into center. You can bend the right knee if you straighten the leg. You can bend the left knee, take the strap off the left foot. Take your block to the second side. And again, block lowest tight, long outside the hip. Loop the strap around the ball of your right foot, straightening that right leg. You might move the foot away from you for a bit to come to weight lower in your hips and to straighten the left leg if you choose to straighten the left leg. If you are straightening the left leg, left knee and toe towards the sky, press down through that leg. And then you might pull that right leg in towards you a bit more. Taking both ends of the strap into the right leg, the left hand holds the block, or even just holding the block in place with your left arm somewhere, but you're squeezing that block into your left hip and using it to help you to keep your hips still. So just as some feedback. When you're ready, the right leg will open to the right, but try not to move your hips. And then bringing that leg back up to center. And again, right leg going to the right, but this time you can hold. It might take a multiple breaths to really try to work the core in a way that your hips stay still and that right leg is going to however far you want it to go to the right. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breath. And as you're ready, go ahead and bring that right foot back into center. Bend the left knee, bend the right knee, take the strap off the leg and put the strap over to the side. Hands to the tops of the thighs, press the thighs away from you, gently swaying the knees a little side to side here. And then as you're ready, if you want to, straighten both legs along the ground, knees and toes pointing to the sky. Grab your strap again. Again, stretching your knuckles towards the sky. So just pulling the hands apart, knuckles facing towards the sky, strap nice and taut. If your legs are straight, pressing both legs down here, and again, knees and toes facing up to the sky, natural curves of the spine. Root the shoulders onto the back, and then inhale, stretch the arms back for the wall behind you. Core engage, stretch forward through the feet, stretch back to the arms. And then exhale, go ahead and start to lift the arms back to the sky. Engage your core and see if you can lift your head and shoulders up and roll all the way up to sit it. And I didn't let you swing your arms intentionally, although if you did come up, you could go back and swing your arms. Okay, lift the strap up to the sky. Just sitting up nice and tall here, lifting the spine up out of the hips. And then exhale, go ahead, release the strap, put the strap to the ground, and make your way back to all fours. Hands and knees. Okay. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, downward facing dog. Grab at the floor with your hands, particularly the left hand. Feel lightness in the wrist. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist, plank pose. You might need to wiggle the feet back a little bit. Shift your weight into your left hand, left foot. Turn your toes to the side. Maybe lifting hand up. And again, you can always do earlier versions. Maybe stepping that right foot forward here. Pressing down to the outer edge of your left foot and your hand. You might start to lift that right foot up and bring that right foot into a tree position. Breathe. And then you can step that foot down and come back to a downward facing dog. Press the hips up, back away from you here. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrist. Shift your weight into your right hand, grabbing on the floor, turning to the outside edge of the right foot, maybe lifting the left hand up. Maybe step that left foot forward. Maybe lift your hips up a little bit higher, pressing them away from the ground. Maybe come to your left toes. Maybe lift the left foot up. Maybe bring the left foot into a tree pose. Breathe. And then exhale, go ahead and release. Coming back into center, making your way back into a downward facing dog. Nice, full, deep, complete breath. And then coming into a child's pose. Feel the breath moving through you. Feel the earth underneath you. As you feel ready, ease your way forward onto your belly. Make a pillow for the head with your hands. Gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. Come back into center with your hips here. Open your knees outer hip distance apart. Press down through the hips. Knees still spinning to face the ground. Exhale and bending both knees here. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Press down through the hips. Lift your gaze a little bit. Arms straight along the sides. Fingers pointing towards the toes. If you want to, lifting up a little bit through the shoulders and the chest here. If you want to, floating up to your hands here. If you want to grab one or both feet, you can. If you want to kick the feet into your hands, you can. If you want to float up knees, you can. Again, doing the option that works for you. Breathe. And then exhale, go ahead and release. Rest your head on the hands. Gently rock your hips a bit from side to side. Coming all the way over onto your left side. Arm wherever works for you. Lining your body up in a nice straight line here. Bending your right knee. Spin your right knee towards the sky, coming to a tree pose on your side. Maybe lifting the right hand up here, balancing. Maybe lifting the right foot up off the right leg. Maybe right hand grabs right thigh, right lower leg or right foot. And then wherever you're grabbing, you can straighten the right leg towards the sky. So again, maybe grabbing the thigh, maybe grabbing up lower on the leg, which is higher in this angle, or maybe even grabbing somewhere on your foot. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Okay, and then exhale, go ahead and release. Come back to your belly. Gently rock your hips a little side to side. And then as you're ready, second side. So coming on to that right side, warming your body up in a nice straight line here. Bending the left knee. Spinning the left knee towards the sky. Feel free to stay here. Feel free to lift the left hand up and balance. Feel free to lift the left foot up. Feel free with the left hand to grab the belly of the thigh, someplace lower on the leg, which is further away from you, or to grab someplace on your foot, and just straightening wherever works for you. If you want to, this left leg towards the sky. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then exhale, go ahead and release. Come back to your belly. Gently rock your hips a little side to side. Come back into center and make your way back into child's pose. So we are going to do one more side plank variation, which means your choice, or again, I'm going to do one more level, but again, any of the versions we've done before. And this is what I mean by this is obviously like intermediate side planks are, but advanced because how many we've done. So also feel free to say you've done enough and leave out if you want to. Okay, if you want to do one more, inhale up to all fours. Nice long spine, shoulders on the back, core engaged. Exhale, downward facing dog. Grab at the floor with your fingers, feel light to the wrist. Keep that lightness to the wrist, shoulders forward over the wrist. Plank pose, wiggle your feet back a little bit. Shoulders on the back, core engaged. Shift your weight into your left hand. Maybe turn the toes to the side. Maybe lift the right hand up here. Maybe step the right foot forward, pressing down to the outside of the foot in your hand. Maybe coming up to those toes. Maybe lifting the foot up. Maybe lifting the foot up more, maybe grabbing the leg someplace comfortable and straightening the leg towards the sky. Breathing wherever you're at. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then exhale, go ahead and release. And back to a downward facing dog. Breathe. We have one more side. Shoulders forward over the wrist. Grabbing the floor with the right hand, light to the wrist. Turn your feet to the left. And maybe stepping that left foot forward. Hands to the sky if that works for you. Breathe. And again, maybe coming to the left toes. Lifting hips up. Maybe lifting that left foot up. Maybe lifting the foot up more. Maybe grabbing someplace on the leg. Or even grabbing foot and straightening. Breathe. Nice full deep breaths. And then exhale, go ahead and release. And as you're ready, downward facing dog and a child's pose. Good job. Come up to sitting with the legs forward out in front of you, knees and toes pointing up to the sky. Since we have them, go ahead and grab your strap. Looping the ball of your foot with balls of both feet with the strap. And giving yourself enough strap initially to pull back on the strap, lift the low back in and up, and sit up nice and tall here in this variation of Dandasana. Breathing here. To come into the forefold, one, I always want you to make sure when you're folding forward that the tops of the hips and the low ribs are moving towards your legs, unless you have a hip situation going on, and then that becomes not necessarily true. But most of the time you do want that to happen. But what we're gonna do holding onto this strap, if you've never done this before, feel the shoulders on the back, bottom tips of the shoulders. Start to bend your elbows out to the side. and start to pull the elbows forward. The shoulders are still moving away from the ears, so they're not hunching up towards the ears. You're actually, as you bend the elbows out to the side, use the bottom tips of your shoulders and pushing your chest forward that way. And you might need to eventually give yourself less strap and keep on pulling those elbows forward and bottom tips of the shoulders pushing forward. Breathe. Nice, full deep. Okay. And as you feel ready, go ahead and come back upright. And easing your way all the way onto your back, still with that strap nearby. Once you're on your back, you can hug the knees into the chest, come into a ball, rocking a bit here. If you like to do knee circles, always feel free to insert knee and hip circles here. And then as you're ready, coming back into center, lower the feet to the ground. You might want the block over on your left side. Or right side, sorry, your block on the right side, sorry, I was backwards. Block over on your right side, grab your strap, loop the ball of your left foot with the strap. And again, right leg can be bent or straight, and pulling that left leg in towards you. And you can use the block like you did before if you wanted to. That's not really why I have it there, but you could if you want to. When you're ready, you can open the left leg to the left again, breathe, nice full deep breath. And before I had you keep the hips really stationary, you don't have to be that exact all the time. And in fact, it doesn't really hurt most people. If you were to let the right hip lift up and roll to the side, you just end up rolling to the side. Just so you know that. Sometimes it's really nice to really control things. Sometimes it's nice to not have quite as much control. Some of it does depend on if your back is hurting or injured, what you might want to do. Just a heads up with that too. But again, there is some freedom in all of this. Okay, once you feel ready, go ahead and bring that left leg back into center. Take both ends of the strap in your right hand. Left arm can open to the left side, left shoulder maybe staying down. And as you're ready, you can start to take the left leg across the right, coming into the twist. And the reason you have that block, and you might come down and then come back up, because the reason you might want to use that block is you might want to flip the block or put the block someplace where you catch the leg. And you might have to come over onto your side to do that, and then bring the left shoulder back down. But that can just sometimes feel really sweet to have this left leg supported in the twist. If you're not someone whose foot comes all the way to the ground, mine doesn't, so I like to do this. Anyway, go ahead and come back into center, not unless I'm doing some other things. Anyway, once you're back into center, you can bend the right knee, reposition your hips so they're back into center, maybe straighten the right leg again. Pull the left leg in towards you and center, that lovely hamstring stretch. And if you want to, you can engage your core and lift your head and shoulders up here. Breathe. Okay. And then lower the head and shoulders down, keeping the left foot in the strap. Press the foot out into the strap. Slowly lower the left leg all the way down or as close to the ground as the strap will let you. And if you like to do the slit thing where you slide one foot in and the other foot out, and you can do that comfortably, you can do that. That sometimes gets more complicated for me than just bending in my knees and switching sides. So again, what works for you? And if you do like to use the block to catch your leg in a twist, you can put the block on the other side. As you're ready, straightening the right leg, maybe straightening the left leg too, pressing down to that left leg if you're straightening it, and pull the right leg in towards you. Breathe, nice full deep breaths. And then as you feel ready, if you'd like, you can take both ends of the strap into the right hand or all the straps into the right hand. Left hand on hip or opening to the side. Right leg could go to the right. Breathing here, nice full deep breaths. And as you feel ready, go ahead and come back into center with your hips. Take both ends of the strap or all the straps into your left hand. Open the right arm to the right. And then as you're ready, you can let the right leg come across, coming into the twist. And again, you might slide or wiggle that block so it catches the left leg somewhere. And then you might have to come to your side to do that, so you might need to Go ahead and turn your chest back to the right after doing that. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Okay. As you feel ready, go ahead and unwind back to center. Still holding on to the strap. Go ahead. Actually, do this first. Straighten the left leg. We didn't do this, finish this. Straighten the left leg along the ground, or wiggle your hips into place. Straighten the left leg on the ground. Pull the right leg in towards you here. Feel free to stay here or engaging your core, lifting head and shoulders up. Breathe. And then as you're ready, lower head and shoulders down. Press the right foot out into the strap. Lower the right foot all the way to the ground, pressing it out into the strap. And then go ahead, release, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. Come back into center here. With your knees bent, lower the feet to the ground, feet outer hip distance apart, natural curves of the spine, weight lower in the hips, tops of the hips lifting, shoulders heavy, neck lifting, back of the head heavy. Grab block at lowest height and slide block underneath your hips here. And the block might be higher on the hips, up near the sacrum. The block might be lower on the hips by your tailbone, but someplace comfortable. And if a block going across your back isn't comfortable for you, you can also grab 2 blocks and slide them underneath your butt cheeks instead. Breathe. Okay. Bring the arms into airplane position. Supported bridge. So supported is not restorative. So you're not completely relaxed here, but you're letting the block help you. Press down through your feet, bounce between the right and the left side. Feel the hips nice and heavy and even between the right and the left side. Press down through the shoulders and the back of the head, but lifting up perhaps a little bit through the chest here. So perhaps wiggling the shoulders underneath you and lifting up a bit through the chest. Breathe. From here, grab your strap. And you might have to lift the feet up off the ground here for a moment to do this, or you might be able to keep them down. But what I want you to do is I want you, holding the strap in your hands, to toss the strap over your knees and catch both ankles in the strap, and then lower the feet back to the ground. And again, pressing down evenly through the feet, looping the strap around the hands, someplace where your arms are straight, where your shoulders aren't being pulled away from your ears too much. So if you feel like your shoulders are being pulled away from your ears, give yourself enough strap to wiggle the shoulders up towards the ears a little bit, and pulling on the strap to help wiggle the shoulders underneath you here. And then from here, press down to the feet. If you want to, inhale, stretch your knees forward and lift your hips up off the block, coming into a more active bridge. Exhale, lower the hips back down. Inhale, stretch your knees forward, lifting the hips up off the block. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, lifting the hips up off the block, holding here. Breathe, holding onto that strap, using the strap and pulling on the strap, not to pull the shoulders away from the ears, but to maybe wiggle the shoulders underneath you more, and maybe lifting the hips up, holding the hips lifted. Hips and knees stretch forward, chest lifts up, chest stretches back. Bridge variation, breathing here. And then as you're ready, lower the hips back down to the block. Put the strap over to the side or just let go of it and let it hang there. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and slide the block out from underneath your hips. Lower the hips all the way to the ground. Hands to the thighs. Press the thighs away from you. Gently swaying the knees a little side to side here. And then as you're ready, coming into center, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking a bit side to side here. You let the hips tuck under in the ball if you like to a little bit. And then from here, if you want to, you can open your knees wider apart, lengthen through the spine, maybe coming back to more of a natural curve of the spine position, maybe pulling the knees down towards the ground on either side of the torso, maybe flipping your feet up to the sky, holding onto the back of your legs, knees, the lower legs, or your feet as you rock from side to side. All of these are considered happy baby version pose variations, coming into the one that works best for you. And then when you feel done here, full body stretch. Stretch the arms up above the head, legs along the floor, lengthening everything out. And finally, a well-deserved final relaxation. So if Shavasana feels good for you, you can come into Shavasana, arms along the sides in an airplane position, legs opening wider apart than the hips, back of your hips lengthening towards your feet. Yes, putting on more clothing if that works best for you. But also, I also always like to say, if Shavasana is not really comfortable for you, you do not have to do final relaxation in Shavasana. It's really just a position where your spine is neutral after moving it all around and that you feel fairly supported. So finding a position that's true for you. You might bend your knees and have the feet on the ground. You might do Supta Baddha Konasana with feet together, knees apart, maybe blocks underneath your knees. You might wander over to a nearby wall and do legs up the wall. Any position that the spine is relatively neutral. You might come onto your side if you don't like to be on your back. Any position, spine relatively neutral and supported that you can relax into. Once you find the position that works in your body for this moment for today, let your eyes be soft or closed. Feel the breath flowing through you. And just notice where your body is in contact with the earth underneath you. And with every exhale, just let yourself release a little bit more. Let yourself soften a bit more into the support of the earth underneath you. Let yourself let go. You can do a scan of your body, perhaps starting with your feet, and just see if any muscles are still working. And just on the exhales, imagine those muscles melting into the earth. And just moving up to your shins, and then the thighs, and just traveling up the body. But just in every area, noticing what's going on with your muscles a bit. If they feel like they're working and you want to let them to let go, just imagine them melting and releasing a little bit more. Interestingly enough, if you have an injury or a twinge in your body, you might not want to let the muscles go in that area. They might be protecting you. So if you're wondering why you might not want to let the muscles go, there's a reason. Otherwise, just letting the muscles release out, letting them soften. Let your bones feel heavy. Let your skin feel soft. Particularly the skin of the face. So just feeling the mouth soft, the nose soft, eyebrows and eyes and cheeks all feeling soft. Give yourself as much time as you would like to just consciously let yourself release and to relax. Let yourself feel the support in a very material way. But once you are as relaxed as you're going to get, you can just let go of the conscious awareness of your breath and just let yourself be here. Whatever that might mean for you in this moment. the breath flowing through you. As you feel ready, you can layer movement on top of the breath, additional movement, wiggling fingers and toes, circling the ankles and wrists, stretching arms and legs. When you feel ready, you can bend your knees and come onto your side if you like. Traditionally, you roll to the right and let the chest turn towards the ground. If that feels good for you, feel free to come into that. If you need to go left, go left. Wherever you're at, feel the breath flowing through you. Feel the support of the earth underneath you. And keep your connection to those two things as when you feel ready, you ease your way into a comfortable sitting position. Legs and hips staying nice and heavy on the floor as you move. Spine lifting up once you're in sitting, and that deep connection to the breath. We will finish with an Om. When you feel ready, hands can come together in front of the heart. Exhaling. Inhale deeply. Thank you so much for coming. Have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed class. I hope it was fun.
Thank you. It was hard. And fun. And hard and fun.
But sequential, and so I like the whole
that's
sequential, so you can
Very-
stop. You can stop where you want to, and
Very
you just
layered.
repeat.
Mhm.
And if you repeat, you're still getting the benefits because each time you repeat something, your body's gonna open and strengthen a bit more, so you never have to go
Same but not the
further.
same.
Yeah. I also want to mention, since, Becky and Elodie being teachers, I don't know if you noticed, one of the reasons I did all the stuff with the strap on the back, besides to open the hips and the hamstrings and all that good stuff, is to counterbalance all the pressing we did in planks to do pulling too. So that was also very intentional, to take breaks from the pressing and use the strap to get the pulling, since that, stretches out the wrist a little bit, opens up. So, just again.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would not have noticed that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, again, not
Yeah.
meant to be an obvious thing, but I did give you breaks to pull
Yeah.
as opposed to push, and that
That
was
was great.
intentional. But
It's
it was
hard to get
also,
pulling.
obviously to